Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 449th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, September 8th, 2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host today once again in these weekly Knowledge Seekers Workshops. And once again, we have the honor of being present with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, and he will be presenting today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Keshe, are you ready to go?
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation. We welcome you back, and hopefully we'll learn a little bit more, as usual, from each other and together. Today, we're going to go in a deeper understanding of the transformation and transmutation. How do we transfer and how we transmit? And this is, in a way, important to understand, as next week we start the transmutation systems. Hopefully our team will put the last pieces together, which is getting done. All the cabling is done. It's just control panel to be added. And then we attempt to move man with a new understanding of the world of creation. Will we succeed? And how much we'll succeed, I'm sure will depend a lot on our understanding of totality and how we set our systems and how willing the passengers are. People might come in with a willingness that they want to be the first people to be tested for translation from one system to another, but the soul says, no, doesn't matter. Whatever you do, I'm not moving because I'm not ready, because you're not ready, because whatever reason. So we look into the totality of the structure. We are set out to break new grounds, and as usual, everything has been step-by-step development. A lot of us, we started about 3 months ago with the first systems, with the first chairs, and then we went from one chair to another to see the system is correct, and then we amalgamated the whole three together to understanding of, and then we started the new system with the expansion of the soul or expansion of the soul and physicality, and now we go with the transmutation. Our very first trials will be, in a way, understanding the work of our own system, to understand how they work. How did they actually respond? Does one receive and none was given? We try to understand this in a deeper way, step by step. Up to now, we used to take up 10, 12 people a day into it. Now we are limiting it to 4 or 5. We have to understand. We have to see if we can transmute the soul first. The first group of people would not see themselves going one to another, but we try to see if they see the dimension of the feeling of the soul from one system to another. This might take us a few days, might take us a few weeks, but when we master the art of the transmutation of the soul, in a way, we decide with you what you're going to dream, and all of you would have one dream, the chair on the other side, and that's it. You're not going to see the grandpa, you're not going to see the moon, you're not going to Mars. Your aim is, I want to be on that seat. Or I want to see, if I go on that seat, can I see me physically on this seat? Can I feel the essence of myself on the seat and not the system? We've seen people talk about having visualization and some having the feel of the visualization. So it's not as easy as it'll be. It's not just the valve of the gas system as we saw with NASA last week after sending $30 billion. A little valve has caused a problem and the hands are abandoned and God knows when it will be going. This time is the dimension of the feel of the soul of the man. This time is how you, as a captain, decide to take off or not. It's not in our hand anymore. Go back to the first time we announced these systems. We said, you are a captain of your own soul. You are a captain of the decision. You are the one who decides where to go. And if you noticed in the fields in the past few weeks, we kept to this criterion. We come to you and we tell you that, would you like to take a flight? Would you like to go somewhere? Would you be able to decide? And then it's you who decides, I want to see the grandma. I go and I fly to the moon because I wanted to go, and some others come in with a different criteria. Yesterday, for the first time, we had the most amazing experience in the flight system. We had a couple, been together for 35 years. They know who I am. I'm sure they're listening. And the strangest thing with them is, we do not know who comes in. They're knowledge seekers for 2-3 years. And the lady is Russian. The gentleman is German. And when they came out of the system, I said, where did he go? His aim wasn't to go to moon. His aim wasn't to go to Mars. His aim wasn't to see the uncle or cousin. They both decided before entering the system, or they discussed what they're going to do, to see the Russian version of Jesus Christ, or what we call the name of Christ. And that was something, that's all they wanted. And both, because they made the decision together, achieved it. One, in the intention and dimension of the light recognizing, and one in the dimension of visualization as a field. This is very vital point for us, which means from now on, what was the whole thing which we decided with the other couples we had? If you remember the week before, we sent them to go where they want, and the couple went home. They wanted to go home, and the wife took the husband home. So we could see that when two souls agree as a soulmate, they do the things the same way in the dimension of the evolution and transmutation. And this couple decided before they come, they didn't want to go anywhere. They wanted to see the same man, the same thing. And this gives us opportunity to explore what we call collective transmutation. A family wants to go to moon. We can now, if the sincerity of the whole 3 or 4 members of the family is to go to the moon, they go to the moon. If the little girl wants to go to the playground and I don't want to go to the moon, but I'm going to the moon because the parents want to go, she'll be left behind because it's not to her satisfaction. So it comes to the point of we cannot lie. And it has to be collective. It has to be the same thing. So when we put you into these systems from next week, you have to want to sincerely to be transmuted to the other system. The beauty with this couple, most probably they'll be the first couple which will land on the moon because of the what I call collective understanding of the work of the soul and being with each other so long. As I told them, we are looking for those of you who registered to go to the moon or to Mars, but we are looking for those that can give us the indication of it. The beauty of this couple we put to the moon. So in a way, we have found our first couple that will be landed on the moon through the system when we start, hopefully, is that they can see each other. They can feel each other. They can tell us what they see of each other, what they feel, how they look. And as we discussed yesterday, we give them a camera. Or do they come back and we deregister the emotion in a different dimension? Remember, man never could say how the other man looks till he found out the pen and the chalk and they start drawing a painting. We evaluated our understanding and we went further. We came out with the still pictures and then we made the movies and now the hologram. There is another dimension in transformation of the knowledge and the pictures. In a way, what I see are transferred to you through the soul. You see what I see. There is no need for a camera. There is no need for anybody else, if I don't want you to see it, to see. This new dimension of visualization is unknown to man. But through the system we set up and the way it is possible. In a way, when they come, if they don't want you to see the picture they saw, you don't see. If they want me to see it, I see. And when you talk between the two of them, they tell you, look up, both see the same pictures as I see. The new transmutation pictures and understanding is at the moment unknown to man. At the moment is a technology which we gradually introduce in the coming time. So with this couple, when we land them on the moon, we will bring that picture into operation. That they can take pictures, but we teach them how to use the dimension of the soul to memorize, to remember. And the beauty with this is nothing will be hidden. You see the full dimension with the emotion of the picture, which at the moment, you don't carry that emotion. You see a video, you see the laughter, you don't know what's happening on the other side, who's making this person to laugh. But now you see everything because you go through the dimension of emotion, the sight of emotion, the emotion of the laughter, the emotion of the, what we call sound, everything together, we transmute it from one to the other. So what's going to happen in the coming days, now that yesterday was the final stage of our development, we were looking before transmutation, is that we want those who come, maybe the first 10 of you will not transmute because your soul is not there to do it. You physically want to do it. So we see how much we can, because we cannot force you. This is the beauty of this new technology. As I said, you cannot force no one to do anything, but you can put it, as we say in English, on the plate, and if they like, they can take it. The new transmutation system opens a new light, a new understanding. It'll define, it'll explain a lot of things that we as a human race never understood in the world of creation. What does this mean? You heard a noise I deliberately made in the background and I muted. You heard I poured liquid. That's all you know. But with a new understanding of transmutation, as we carry the essence of the soul of the noise, you will know if it was a tea, if it's sweetened, the color of it, what kind of tea. Was it orange juice? Was it apple juice? Sweetened apple juice? Was it the coffee, decaf or undecaf? Because this is the new level of the understanding of the emotion of the totality, which the new cycle of knowledge will open to man. You cannot say, oh, what am I drinking? I'm drinking coffee, but in fact, you're having orange juice. Those of you who are alcoholic, you're in a bigger problem. You can't dilute whiskey in Coke. I said, darling, I'm just having a glass of Coke. Because, darling, will feel the essence of the vodka, the gene, what you put in. And then, as I said, everything in this new dimension is open to totality. You cannot drive down the road full of alcohol and say, officer, I had nothing. Sorry, the officer can smell everything you have, doesn't need a meter, because he works in a different dimension. So you will see the changes which will come, and this is what is to hit us all. And with it will come the same. The universal energy system, which will be introduced in the coming time, all of you will receive from it. The energy, the food, everything else which you need. Correction of miscorrections, misguided works, and what man does to himself, all be a thing of the past. Peace will come on this planet when the technology of the creation understood through understanding the knowledge of the creation, and not by what I call magic, not by what it might be, what could be. Next week, when we start the transmutation of the system, it'll be fantastic to see if people can smell themselves from one machine to the other. What happened when we give you a perfume to the dimension of physicality? Does the soul smell on the other machine? In so many ways, a new era in the space technology, the space technology of the man to travel in deep space, has begun. We have closed one side, one section of what we call testing, that from understanding of it, from building of it, we allow the totality to take shape in a given dimension. As I said to our design people this morning, because sometimes they forget, is that we want our systems at a moment only to be for human race. The system, when it's set up, carries a specific system that conditions Earth condition. It's beautiful to see other creatures of the universe, but it'll be beautiful to see if we can handle it, if our own structure responds to the totality. There's a very big question. What are we going to do with those who are from other dimensions of the universe and they enter the system? In a way, with a new setting, with placing of the conditions of the Earth into the parameters, we will know which one of you, who of you, are not from this planet. Even though you feel, you touch, you eat, you create children in the dimension of humanity. This will open a new dimension. This will open for us to accept that we are part of the universal community and they're amongst us. We respect it and we have to honor it. It's not to stigmatize, it's to respect and to understand. In so many ways, the new flight system which come into operation, which tell us you are from such a planet, you want to go to moon, we have to change our system to you that you have the same pleasure as a man on earth. And at the same time, we have to understand how we bring these positions into what we call working. Yesterday, I asked one of our team who does all our purchasing, can you get me a laser beam machine? He goes up, he comes back, says, Mr. Keshe, this is what I can get, a little laser hand. I said, my dear, I want a laser. It's powerful enough that I can point at the moon and I can send a man with it down the line. I know where he lands, till he learns where he's going to land. In a way, attachment to the process. We have already started the process of the landing on the moon. It's not that it's going to come. We have to prepare. Our systems have to be set. One of the easiest way on Earth, I'll give you a mobile phone, Zoom. I can take you across. But for the time being, till our people get to know, and we can find them and bring them back, This is the easiest way to do. In understanding the totality and the beauty with testing with the moon is that the moon has a fixed feature positions toward Earth. I don't land you on the crater and I pick you up on the rock somewhere else. Where I land you, I can bring you back. That's why we said we do the dimension of Earth to the moon, because this way we can check a lot of things. Now you understand the transportation and transmutation system, which is kicking in, is far-reaching and it'll have much more effect. It'll have new dimensions. It'll have new understanding. It'll create a condition of the detachment. It creates a condition for us as a research team to explore the limits of the knowledge of the creation. I just had a sip of the drink. You, as knowledge seekers, heard the noise. You've been set to do this. Some of you who came to the center, you should feel it. I do it again. You feel what the sip is, what the drink is, how does it taste, what kind of drink it is, and what's the emotion which is created by it within me, that the knowledge is transferred to you as you are part of the structure of universal community, the dimension of the fields of the universe. Just listen and try to see. We did a test with Rick a few weeks ago. This is part of the same test, but in a different dimension. Just listen. And then don't think, feel through the soul what it is. Write it down. And then I come back to it later on. And then you understand what the difference is. Not, oh, I guess was that. Write it down. Then you get confidence in your own emotion. You understand later on what you have to adjust. What was missing, and are you connected to this soul? I open my soul to the whole dimension of the creation. Now you try to see if you are connected. I'll give you a clue. It's a combination of emotion of different nations. Different cultures. You got to remember, I've traveled the span of the universe. I've traveled the span of this earth. And I've chosen the best of the best when it comes to pleasures of life. And the drink I drink has to give me a pleasure. It's something that allows me to transfer my emotion. The way is like a thirst. You're thirsty. And we talked about it many times before. What happened when you touch that first drop of water in your mouth and your taste gets satisfied? Because water beyond entering, before entering your mouth, is in a state of the matter. The minute it enters your mouth, your body is in the state of the gas. It's in the state of the field of the universe. And that's why that field travels the whole cell structure of the body of the man. The body next to you does not feel your thirst. It's only you who feels it. And when you take that first sip, every cell is satisfied. So we have to understand this. Last week, I went through deliberately, in a different way, asked about the centrifuge. How we do, how we work, how we look at the centrifuge. Many scientists have not understood. In a way, I refer to the centrifuge when we ask for the position of the Earth in respect to the sun. There is no way that the Earth is moving away from the center. And every indication of the knowledge is that the Earth is moving to the center if you understand the process of the creation in a true way. Now, I explain to you why the scientists are 100% wrong. First of all, if you just look at the physical position of the Earth and the Sun, yes, it could be moving away, whatever. But there are two major factors which tells you they are getting pulled into the Sun. First factor, Earth is not stationary. It's a dynamic and is at the end of the string rotating around the Sun. So it's in a centrifuge condition. In a centrifuge condition, the heaviest always go to the furthest out, and the lightest stay closer to the center of the force. Then the major point that no scientist, no scientific structure ever considered, Earth is in a vacuum condition of the solar system. And the solar system itself is in a higher density strength of the galaxy and thereon. So the Earth is in two conditions. One is on the centrifuge, and secondly on a vacuum. What do we do in a vacuum? In a vacuum system, instead of creating centrifuge rotation, we create vacuum and we get the same response. When you have a balloon, when you blow it, the lightest, or on Earth, the lightest gases go further up. In a vacuum condition, the heaviest go up, the lightest come to the center. And this applies the same in reverse with the Ganz operation, where Ganses are amalgamation of the field forces. This is why you see separation when you put Ganses on top of each other. Have you ever bought these color sands that you put them one sand over the other, and then you see they are separated? You can say which sand is where and what color is where and how they are. And the same thing happens with you when you put Ganses together. You create through the vacuum that condition of separation of the field forces. But if you look in the dimension of the plasmatic condition, the stronger field is in the center and the weaker outside in the dimension of magnetical. But what knowledge seekers have not understood, on the hand, the gravitational, it must be heavier, stronger than the magnetical, that it finds its path to the center. This is how your soul matures to reach the condition of separation from the physicality. How do we understand all dimensions and working within the dimensions from each other? How do we separate understanding of the centrifuge, working within the what we call the vacuum, and then on top of it, understanding plasmatic field forces, which forces the condition of the stronger field to be in the center. They all are dependent on the condition of the manifestation. They are all conditions of understanding the work, the interaction of the fields of the universe. Sometimes matter state in the vacuum condition takes the center place, because within it hides the strength of the field of the Ganz plasma. You see that in the bone structure of the man. The body of the man is a total vacuum. absolute total vacuum, and the condition of the vacuum of the inside the body of the man is even higher than outside space level. In the test during our work in Bruges, in Belgium, we tested this. We created a condition of different vacuum strength, and we've seen how you operate. We create condition better than atmospheric, beyond in the space level. We go to minus 13, 14, we push it. Where atmospheric, cosmic atmospheric is considered around about 12. And we see the performance. But what is strange and man has not understood in totality is how come if by the law of the vacuum of the body of the man, the bone is in the center? Because every other gans is attached to it. Your muscles, your limb, your skin is all connected. It doesn't work. It doesn't come into understanding of the essence of creation. But there is a vacuum condition inside another vacuum condition, which dictates that the heaviest goes to outside. What is this vacuum condition? But this vacuum condition, to create that field forces, changes into the ray of light condition, which is an amalgamation and transformation between one to the other. This is why your bones are the shape they are. They are spherical in essence of the field, but they are cylindrical in the essence of manifestation. Now you understand why your bones has such a structure. Because you missed a very important field forces which sits within it, which is your bone marrow. Bone marrow creates that condition, creates a field rotation, and that is why your body can suck blood out of the inner ends of the cell, and the lymph comes in through it. Our scientists, our men of medicine, are ignorant in totality of the science of the creation. And that is why you have problems with the immune system, because they have not understood you have a vacuum within a vacuum, you have a centrifuge system of the field forces not in a matter state, and then it leads to the creation of the body of the man. The maze problem, the most important part of the whole structure of the building of the body of the man, and you all talk about it, you see it in every living cell, doesn't matter vertical or horizontal. Why? Why do you have a calcium in every cell in the body of the man? And what does the rotation of the iron as a blood with this centrifuge system and a solid base brings to you? What you have in the body of the man, in the structure of the bone structure, with the center of the bone marrow creating high field levels, that the bone becomes a centrifuge, utter body weight, and then in the matter state, it becomes itself the pinpoint of the holding on to the next vacuum condition, which is the muscle tissue and the skin of the man. Then you understand how life is created. We need to understand this. We have to understand this. Otherwise, we cannot create life in other dimensions. We cannot go through the transmutation through the field level. Then, in the other dimension, you get your brain and your foot, and your skull will be solid calcium. Because you made a slight error in understanding the process of the creation. These are all part of the structure of what we will go through from next week in the enhancement system. Understanding the true process of the creation, and not with the problems and understanding the process of what's going on today with many of us in the dimension of the health and the rest. If you have understood, if you've been across with us, and seen people who've been paralyzed, people who had paraplegic, people who had no movement of part of the body, and within a day or hours they start moving. How many times you use gases where it was frozen in the body and then the pain is gone? Because you transform the matter state fields, which is converting to you, to the emotion, to the dimension of the fields of the universe within the universe of your body. Understanding the process of creation is 90% of the problem of the man, even the most intelligent scientists on this planet. They are single-minded in the sight of the knowledge they've been educated, and if they understand a little bit more of, they become arrogant that they don't understand the rest of it. When you become knowledge seekers, you have to understand the totality of the process of the plasma, physics, chemistry, and biology, and then the essence of emotion, and then the essence of the soul, which is the plasma of itself, before it becomes again the cycle of the matter state. If you push the two extremes, you come back to the same. How much you have not understood. If you increase the alkaline is so high, it becomes acidic. If you give enough, you become a taker. If you create such a huge potential, you become from the voltage to a current, and this is what no man has understood. Now, in the next process of the generation of the teachings of the space technology, you will understand the emotion of the cycle of the life. You don't say, darling, I feel what you're going through. For sure, you feel exactly what he or she is going through because you lock into the emotion of the soul. And you don't say, no, you don't understand my pain. My darling, I've connected to you to the field strength, not as a barrier of the field strength of you and me. Then mankind become knowledgeable in the essence of the creation, in the essence of interacting with the universal community, not in the dimension of matter state, but in the dimension of the field strength. And then it will become interesting for us because we tried this with you before, and some of you tried it and did not work with you because you never understood the whole essence. Some of the knowledge seekers, before they come for the first trials with us, they call their cousins or friend or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. I'm going to come and see you. I'm going in the system. And it didn't happen. Even though the cousin was sitting on the other end and waiting for you to arrive. What's the reason? The soul of the cousin says, no, no. You want, I don't, because I know what's going to create. It's not the time for it. This is what we saw with a couple yesterday and with the other couple last week. Both soul wanted and both soul achieves. If you remember, we put couples in the back and the front seats. We put couples across each other to see if the couple behind has nothing to do with the other one, if they still achieve and feel the same, even being in different positions. So in the past 6-8 weeks, we have tested every possible combination of the understanding of the movement of the soul of the man. Now, ask yourself a simple question. Check your paper and tick your paper. What did I drink? We had a knowledge seeker very recently in one of the teachings where she said, I had a dream or whatever, and I could feel the person had a pain, so and so. And then we understood how that feeling correctly was. The pain was felt because of the correction of the and in a way closeness of the souls. And he was 100% correct. Now, check your papers. What did I drink? What combination? And what pleasure gives me in understanding of the memory? And then you see how much you have got and what you are. Those of you who have been around me for long enough, you know I love green tea, especially in the morning. This comes from my travels to China and understanding the essence, the beauty of the nation and why they do it, and how green tea is actually a GANS in the first layers. And what they burn and the first tea you take is nanomaterials, which gives you the energy for time. That's why a lot of Chinese are very slim, because they take the energy in the first tea, in the green tea they take that first layer because they burn, they fry in a way, they dry the black tea, it takes the shape of green. So as a scientist, for me, green tea gives me a lot of pleasure, but I carry the emotion of the nation, the kind of culture within it, which has a lot of meaning to me. The other thing was a pure water, which the tea was made of. And I drink it very hot, a special way that I enjoy to carry the energy. The other part comes from my background as a Iranian, which I like Nabat, which is concentrated sugar. Melt it, let cool down, and sticks to what you call wood or a string. And it's the pleasure to have because it's a rapid dissolved energy, especially during the time when I teach. Needs a lot of energy. Those of you who've been around me know after the 3 or 4 hours of teaching, I go exhausted. I need a whole afternoon, maybe next day, to literally recuperate from the time of the teaching. Then with it brings the essence of the smell and taste of saffron, which this gives you emotional elevation. Saffron to me has a lot of meaning, in essence of love and creation. And then when you take this sip, it revitalizes the whole of the body of the man. How many of you got all of it right? And how many of you got one of it right? And how much was on the knowledge of knowing, and how much of it was on the knowledge of the emotion? The beauty, the taste of green tea, the odor of saffron, with the sweetness of the sugar as a human, which is the essence of this creation, and then with the water of life, all at a very high temperature. Now, what that emotion, what that sip creates as the emotion within me, which satisfies my inner being dimension of the understanding of the totality. Then you understand how we will bring different cultures, different banners, different emotions from different parts of the universe, now that you become the travelers of the universe. Would you introduce tea to a man from planet Zeus? The one who did to me gave me a lot of pleasure. But how would you explain it in the essence, not in physicality, that they feel the emotion of what you have, what you give? Is it love or is it tainted with desire? In the life of man, we will know how and where and the way we are connected. In the life of man, we will not, as I said many times, adultery becomes impossible in the dimension of universal because the emotion of the soul creates that separation. The emotion of commitment and connection becomes soulmate for life, unless Some, by agreement of the two, has decided to separate. Not by agreement of one. It becomes a life without pain. The life within the dimension of the universe becomes as true, as clear as what I call the light of the sun. Transparent and complete. In the process of creation, in the process of transmutation, in the process of understanding the totality, man from now on enters a new dimension of understanding of the creation in itself, its own creation, and the created, and that has created a totality. Would we have children with physical handicaps once the man knows can create children with the essence of the soul and not the essence of physicality? And would these children be the light of the, what I call the true reflection of the light of the Creator, as they are created in the essence of the soul of the Creator and not the physicality of the being, with all its faults and its all dimensions? Now you understand, the children of Mitra, in the essence of understanding, will be pure, even though they live in a different dimension of the physicality. We have to understand that the dimension of the physicality of the man is on this planet. The dimension of the physicality of the children of Mitra is the universe. As wherever they go, they fit into the society because they came from the lights of that society, of the best of the lights, not those which are tainted. This is what Mitra did in essence of the creation, bringing the best lights from every field of the universe to create his own, her own child that will be the essence of perfection. And that child is amongst us. And we have to understand it and treasure it to understand that the new life not is the first child of Adam on this planet, but the first child in the whole universe to start a new creation, new dimension in life, for the whole of the universal community as a total, as a unicos. It's a new cycle that has a dimension of physicality of the point of place, but in essence is the soul of the Creator within. Mankind will come to understand this. Mankind has no choice, as the universal community will make it to understand. Now, you try to understand. You see, you go through the emotion. If now that you know what I drank and what I drink, you get the same emotion as me. Did you smell? Did you feel? Did you feel the essence of my soul wanting to share it with all of you and not be kept to me, the beauty, the taste which it carries? Did you take a sip from the cup of life of the Creator? Then you understand the totality of the process of the creation. Did it enlighten the soul, or did it freshen the physicality? Mankind, in a new way, will break through a new understanding that the physical dimension of life has meaning, but does not have the importance, does not have the priority, is not to be detached, and I don't want to be here. I want to be here because I want to enjoy the totality of it, not to be a part-time lover. In a way, mankind will come to understand the totality of the essence of the creation. Mankind will come to understand how man will go through it, how man will feel it, how will come how will come to be what it is. Today, later on, we'll introduce that we come to see the change. We come to understand the totality, and we come to see what it'll bring to us. It'll bring to change and to create that understanding from the dimension of the soul of the man. And how much of it we can understand to do, what we can understand and what we can do. And would it be in a position of totality? We have to understand the totality of physicality. We have to understand the totality of all dimensions. Physical, emotional, transmutation, transformation, transferring from physical to what we call transmutation and transfer, and vice versa. And understand the totality. How much can we change? How much can we push to understand our own limitation? Humanity needs understanding of the totality to be able to become the man of the universe. And this knowledge does not come freely. In how we transfer these energies across from each other. How do we comprehend the emotion of it? Do we need to think to do, or would it come to us naturally? And how natural does it come to us? And would we always live in the dimension of the soul? Or would we live in the dimension of physicality? Or would we come to understand the borderline of which one is the soul and which one is the physicality? Then comes the question, the big question for mankind, that those who we accuse of schizophrenic and multi-character, how would they spread, how would they share the singularity of the physicality? Or do we create another dimension of the problem for ourselves to understand their work? Or would, if we have a schizophrenic in one system, we want to appear in the other, which other will manifest, or would they all two or three manifest themselves in another system, one as a man, one as a woman, one as whatever they want to be? And then, if we call in their creator, their parents, would they have the comprehension of understanding? These are all problems. These are all situations. These are the realistic conditions that we open from next week by running the transmutation test. Where do we centrifuge your fields? And is the fields of one system is matching the other one, that you will come out as a man on the other side? Very much, if we create another condition in the other system, it will be the way, let's say you appear on moon, they feel the strength from another dimension. But as a man, feel the strength. Then how would you look? How would you manifest yourself in the other system? Would you have 10 legs and 20 arms? Because that's what you need on the surface of the moon. Now you go back to all the teachings we've done over years. Where we always said, we have test trials before you go, you see how you come. Go back on all the recorded teachings. Many times I refer to it. Now we have come to it. Now we will see, now our scientists will create the conditions that when you go on the moon, you see how you will manifest yourself in the others. The systems are physically made and in place. As I said to Dean yesterday, I never let you in up to now, but from now on, we look from inside. What do we transmute from the other, from one side to the other? Do we get the perfection in both systems that both mimics the condition of the earth? We foresaw such a situation in our designs. That's why last time, if you remember, I said we put the people in the center. Those who want to be still connected to earth and the other system does not match the condition they want, then be manifested in the center of the room. It'll be very interesting for you to understand. In one condition, you'll be manifested in the room. Would you still see your other half in the machine? It'll be very much like when you dream. You see yourself in your dream in the mirror and you see yourself back. I went shopping and I bought such and such a dress, because in a dream, in a condition of soul, you still see your dimension of physicality because that's what it fits it. Now you understand the totality of the knowledge of the space technology is absolutely mind-blowing. But once you understand it, what would be the next condition? how would you feel if you're amongst two souls? How do you test yourself when you're among two souls? And know the both souls sitting and knowing and understanding each other, but not knowing that you see both. This is one of the dilemmas that you will face in the coming time. You sit between two friends and you see the emotional feeling about each other, where they don't talk to each other about it. It brings a lot of new dimensions. It brings huge amount of headaches for those who see it, but they cannot talk it, they cannot do it. But from now on, as more and more of us learn, will not think that way, because you know that the side sees what's the use of thinking. Then it comes, does the man need the emotion of the language and the voice? Interesting times are ahead of us. In so many ways, the perfection in understanding the totality is upon us. We have no choice. And then what we need to do, what we need to understand, is how perfect this life, the new dimension for man shall be. How do we assess it? How do we understand it? And then how do we collaborate with it to be part of us? And how closely, how far can we push this? For us to understand, for us to be able to push the what we call the manifestation of the creation. To what extent mankind will understand the teaching of today, and to what extent will be the beginning of the evolution, the beginning of what I call a new way of living. All of you who come in from next week, you sign a disclaimer that you come in according to your will, and it has to be notarized. Don't come in if you don't have the letter with you. That you give us the right for transmutation and transportation, or transmutation and what I call relocation. We don't make it. You have to get it made according to you and bring it with you. You will not go in the system if you have not brought a signed letter, notarized, registered, that you give the permission to become the test pilots in this series of the what we call evaluation and development of new technology. It has to be with your free consent. We, as one nation, come to change the operation of this nation. And that's man's nation on this planet. In a very short time, Keshe Foundation will announce the establishment of one nation organization, which means the creation of totality in considering the supply of food, energy, and everything else under the same banner, the same structure through knowledge seekers. We see crisis in the West. We see crisis around the world with the food crisis and the rest of it, created deliberately or whatever. As we have set up one nation structure, one nation, one planet, one race, Keshe Foundation will respond to this accordingly. We're just waiting to see how this takes shapes. That is the best time for us to intervene. when your nations cannot supply you, when your nations cannot give you food, there has to be an alternative as a what we call totality of one nation. Will open a new dimension in the patterns which you have, but you do not understand. With it, we release new technologies that all can use immediately. That takes the pressure of the hunger, heat, and the rest of it from the life of especially the European and Western world, as the Africans are well looked at. It does not matter how much the price of the oil goes up, down, if there is no gas, if there is no car to drive, as they live in the jungles, and the monkeys don't care. If they are loved by the man, or they are fed by the man, because they can feed themselves the same as the man in the jungle. Now you understand that the totality of the knowledge independence of physicality has brought a pleasure to live in Africa because you're already independent. Let's see what comes up and how fast in the next coming weeks we can create that dimension of transmutation, that dimension of transfer, that dimension of further understanding, that by October, November, that time, we can bring you to Austria and ship you back home. As I said to one of our knowledge seekers, as a couple, leave a phone at home, come in the car, I'll send one of you back home in a different way. In a way, it means we'll see the difference between the physical and transmutation. And would the partner finds the other partner home when he or she gets home? Was the desire to be home? The love is so strong to bring. This is what we tested 2 weeks ago with a couple, or last week with a couple. The desire to go home was the same as the love was at home. Now you understand why we run these trials, that on the completion, every soul gets what it wants and what it needs and what it has to. Thank you very much for today. I hope you understood a lot more what is to come. I hope you understand the new knowledge which is shared with you far beyond your understanding of the present time. And then it'll become like the first time we introduce you to ganses and a different kind of energy. Now we introduce you to a new way of living life in the universe. And man has no choice but to learn it. You can deny it, but you cannot run away from it, because this time you can't hide in the jungles of Africa or behind the locked doors when it's got nothing to do with me. As it touches your soul and it has everything to do with you, it does not matter very well. Vic, if you can take us to break and we come back, and then we'll take it a step.
Very good. Thank you once again, Mr. Kesh, for another teaching. And we'll be back in a few minutes. This is the 449th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, September 8th, 2022.